Have you ever found yourself frustrated or hurt because someone close to you didn't act the way you expected? Maybe they didn't notice your bad mood, forgot your birthday, or failed to support you when you needed them most. The pain stings, not just because of their actions or inactions, but because of the silent story you told yourself about what they should have done. In my own journey, I've felt this sting too. I've seen it in friends who drift apart over small misunderstandings, or couples who argue over unspoken needs. The truth is, most of our relationship struggles stem from expectations we've created but never expressed. We assume people should instinctively know what we need or behave in ways that mirror our own values. The Stoics, however, teach a different path, one that requires courage and reflection. They remind us that peace and connection flourish not when we demand perfection, but when we let go of the illusion that others can or should meet all of our expectations. Instead, they guide us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, and our capacity to respond with gratitude. Think about it. What would change if, instead of clinging to disappointments, you chose to notice and appreciate the quiet ways someone shows up for you? Could releasing those expectations free you to enjoy your relationships with more joy and less resentment? Picture this. You've just had a long, exhausting day. You come home hoping your partner will sense your fatigue and offer to help with dinner or clean up the dishes. But instead, they're on the couch, scrolling through their phone. Instantly, irritation wells up inside you. You think, they should know I need help. Now pause for a moment. Did you ever explicitly share how you felt or what you needed? Or did you silently expect them to read your mind? The problem with expectations, especially unspoken ones, is that they create a mental script for others, roles they didn't agree to play. When reality doesn't align with the script, we feel betrayed. But here's the twist. Most of the time, the other person has no idea what's been written into the story. The Stoics warn us about this trap. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The true strength lies in acknowledging that others cannot always meet our inner expectations, and that's okay. Instead of simmering in frustration, consider this. How often do we overlook the efforts others make because we're too focused on what they didn't do? What might shift in your relationships if you traded disappointment for gratitude? One of the most transformative lessons I've learned is the power of gratitude. For years, I clung to the belief that people had to earn my appreciation by meeting my standards, but life and relationships are not transactional. Let's revisit that same scenario. Imagine coming home, still exhausted, but instead of waiting for help to be offered, you say, "I've had a tough day, could you help with the dishes tonight?" Now, not only have you communicated your needs, but you've also created an opportunity for the other person to show up for you in a meaningful way. When we replace silent expectations with clear communication and genuine appreciation, something magical happens. Gratitude encourages reciprocity. It reminds people that their efforts matter, and in turn, it nurtures deeper trust and connection. So I'll leave you with this. What small act of kindness could you acknowledge today? How can you express gratitude for the things others are already doing, even if they don't look exactly how you envisioned? Letting go of expectations doesn't mean giving up on meaningful relationships or accepting mistreatment. Instead, it's about liberating yourself from the unnecessary weight of demands that others cannot always meet. It's a shift in perspective, from controlling others to nurturing your own peace of mind. Consider this. How often do we hold on to resentment over things that are, in truth, beyond anyone's control? A forgotten birthday, a missed phone call, or a lack of immediate response. These moments, though frustrating, often stem from misunderstandings or different priorities, not from a lack of care. The Stoics challenge us to focus on what we can control, our reactions. Epictetus reminds us it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When we respond to disappointment with grace instead of anger, we create a space for understanding rather than conflict. Take a moment to reflect. What might change in your relationships if you stop trying to fix or mold others and instead embrace them as they are? Could letting go of expectations open the door to deeper, more authentic connections? Empathy is the bridge that connects us to others. It allows us to see beyond our own frustrations and into the lives of those we care about. When we practice empathy, we're reminded that everyone carries their own burdens, and sometimes their silence or inaction isn't about us at all. It's about their own struggles. Imagine a co-worker misses an important deadline, leaving you to pick up the slack. Instead of assuming they're lazy or inconsiderate, you approach them with curiosity. "Hey, I noticed the project didn't come through. Is everything okay?" This shift from blame to understanding doesn't just diffuse tension, it builds trust. The same applies to personal relationships. Instead of resenting a friend for not reaching out, try asking how they're doing. Often you'll find that their silence had nothing to do with you, but was a reflection of their own challenges. So, I ask you, when was the last time you approached a disappointment with empathy instead of judgment? How might this change the dynamics of your relationships moving forward? True freedom in relationships comes not from trying to control others, but from embracing acceptance. This doesn't mean settling for less or tolerating behavior that harms you. It means understanding that others are imperfect, just as you are. Acceptance allows you to shift your focus from what you wish people would do to appreciating what they already bring to your life. Picture a friend who often arrives late. While it's frustrating, consider what else they offer. Maybe it's their humor, support, or willingness to listen when you're struggling. By accepting their imperfection, you honor the value of the relationship instead of fixating on their flaws. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." When you approach relationships with this mindset, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering and foster genuine connection. Ask yourself, are there people in your life whose imperfections overshadow their positive qualities? What might happen if you chose to love them wholeheartedly, flaws and all? One of the most liberating lessons of Stoicism is the realization that your role in any relationship is not to control, but to contribute. Instead of asking, "Wait, what can I get?" ask, "What can I give?" Consider a romantic relationship. Instead of waiting for your partner to anticipate your needs, express gratitude for what they already do. When you start by giving, whether it's kindness, understanding, or support, you inspire the same in return. Relationships thrive not because we demand more from others, but because we offer more of ourselves. This principle applies beyond romantic relationships. At work, instead of criticizing a colleague's shortcomings, offer help or encouragement. In friendships, instead of feeling hurt by someone's absence, reach out and reconnect. When you shift from expecting to contributing, you transform the dynamic of the relationship. Reflect on this. What's one small, positive action you could take today to enhance a relationship in your life? How might this act of giving change how you feel about that connection? Power of clarity. Communicate, don't assume. Many of the frustrations we face in relationships stem from one simple mistake: assuming others know what we need. We expect our partners to sense our moods, our friends to guess our priorities, and our colleagues to understand our preferences, all without a single word spoken. But the truth is, people can't read minds. Imagine a scenario where you feel overburdened at work. You assume your team notices your stress and expects them to offer help. When they don't, you feel neglected or unappreciated. But what if, instead of waiting, you said, "I'm feeling overwhelmed with this project. Could you assist with this part?" Suddenly, what seemed like indifference becomes an opportunity for collaboration and support. Clear communication is an act of kindness. It removes the guessing game and gives others the chance to meet you where you are. The Stoics teach us to focus on what is within our control, and communicating our needs is entirely up to us. Ask yourself, how often do you let silent expectations create unnecessary tension? What would happen if you replaced assumptions with honest conversations? At its core, the Stoic practice of letting go is about reclaiming your peace. It's about recognizing that while you can't control others, you can control your perspective, your actions, and your emotional responses. Letting go doesn't mean apathy, it means choosing to invest your energy in things that truly matter. When you release the grip of unrealistic expectations, you make room for gratitude, empathy, and connection to thrive. Picture a world where you no longer carry the burden of needing others to act a certain way to feel content. Instead, you find joy in their unique qualities, forgiveness in their shortcomings, and understanding in their struggles. That's the freedom Stoicism offers. So, here's a final question. What expectation could you let go of today that would bring more peace to your life? How might that decision transform your relationships? A daily practice of letting go. Letting go is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice, a conscious choice to embrace freedom over control. Each day brings its own challenges, its own disappointments, and yes, its own opportunities to choose peace over frustration. Start small. The next time you feel frustrated by a friend's late reply, pause and remind yourself, their response time doesn't determine the value of our friendship. Or, when a partner forgets to notice something important, think, they didn't mean harm. What do I appreciate about them instead? These micro moments of letting go, practiced consistently, build a more resilient and peaceful mindset over time. The Stoics often emphasized the power of reflection. Epictetus advised us to review our actions daily, asking, what did I do well? What could I have done better? By adopting this habit, you can reflect not only on your actions, but also on the expectations you carried. Which ones served you, which ones didn't? Here's something to consider tonight. What's one expectation you carried today that caused you frustration? How might you reframe or release it tomorrow? At the heart of letting go lies gratitude. Gratitude shifts our focus from what's missing to what's present. It helps us see the kindness of a coworker who stayed late, the thoughtfulness of a friend who called unexpectedly, or the steady presence of a loved one in our lives. Practicing gratitude doesn't mean ignoring challenges, it means acknowledging that even amidst imperfection, there is good to be found. Marcus Aurelius, reflecting on his life, once listed all the virtues and kindnesses he'd learned from others. This act of recognition wasn't just a moment of thanks, but a roadmap for how he wanted to live. Tonight, try this. Write down 3 things you're grateful for in your relationships. Notice how this small act can begin to transform how you feel about the people around you. When we cling to expectations, we often unintentionally put walls between ourselves and others. Letting go, paradoxically, is what allows us to love more fully. By accepting people as they are, not as we wish them to be, we create space for deeper connection, mutual respect, and genuine care. The Stoics remind us that life is fleeting and the time we have with those we love is limited. Instead of spending it in frustration or conflict, let's choose to spend it in appreciation and presence. Letting go is not just about freeing yourself, it's about honoring the relationships that matter most. So, I leave you with this. What small step can you take today to embrace letting go? How can you bring more acceptance and gratitude into your life and into the lives of those you love?